Camera's rolling. You ready?
Yep.
Ready, easy?
Ready.
Okay, Shreyas's interview in 3, 2, 1. Action.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself for me, please?
I am Shreyas, and I'm the Education Officer at Reading Students' Union. I'm also Director and a Trustee of Reading Students' Union, and I'm also studying law.
Okay, so I'm Andrew Grice. I'm the Director of Finance at the university. I've been here for about 7 years, and before that I was at Bristol and Southampton, so I've had a 20-year career in universities in the UK.
Yeah, my name's Peter Miskell. I am one of the university's Pro-Vice Chancellors for Education and Student Experience, and I also teach at Henley Business School as well.
Yes, I'm Naib Yamal. I'm from Argentina, study ancient history. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Russell Panache Bandar. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Northampton.
Hi, I'm Anush. I'm an alumnus of University of Reading. I'm a designer, I'm a filmmaker, and I like what I do.
My name is Nathan Benito. I study film at the university, and yeah.
So my name's Rav. I'm a pharmacist by background. I'm the School Director of Teaching and Learning here at the University of Reading in the School of Chemistry, Food and Pharmacy. Outside of that, I am the university's Chair for Student Discipline. So when it goes wrong, it comes to my doorstep. And then outside of the university, I work for my regulator, which is the General Pharmaceutical Council, and I'm also an Army officer in the British Army.
This past month has been a period of readjustment, I would say. I finished a year abroad where I was in France for 9 months and Spain for 3 months. And now I'm coming back to Reading. I had to move in the new house and see all my friends again, kind of adjust myself to life in England one more time. And it was okay. It was kind of a period of adaptation. So I didn't have much time to maybe reflect on how I'm doing, but I don't think that's very rarely the case anyway, so it's fine.
So you brought an item with you today.
Yes.
That means a lot to you. Can you show me and explain
Yes.
a little bit about it?
So I have here a deity. So I'm a Hindu by religion, and so this is a deity from my temple at home. And the deity is Ganesha. And we have a temple in our house, and we prayed to the same temple, and I took the same temple to university when I went. And Ganesha is the deity that you would have at the start of any process or any journey or any ceremony or a festival or anything like that, and it's the deity that removes obstacles. So if you have apprehension, stress or anything like that, by remembering this deity, it helps to remove those obstacles and clear the path for you.
Yeah, this is a scarf for my favorite football team, Inter Milan. I was born in Italy, and it's football and my faith in God have been the only thing that have been consistent in my life, I think, from my childhood since today. I thought it was the thing that kind of, I don't know, it brings me the most memories. So it's good. It's a sign of consistency for me, and kind of growth towards a better path?
Oh, I bought my tiger. His name's Lewis. He has a name. I've had this when I was a child, and this is just a nice cuddle buddy, pretty much. I like cuddles, I like hugs. So
it's a bit old and battered, and music lovers might recognise it. It's a score of The Messiah by Handel, and it reminds me of school days. I was brought up in Swansea in South Wales, and the schools system there was hugely into music. So from the age of about 10, 11, I was singing or playing in an orchestra, and every Christmas we did The Messiah. So this is my original score from the time, and it's got all my pencil markings in. So I have very happy memories of standing on a stage at Christmas with 100 other young people singing Messiah.
Okay, I just picked this up in the co-op a minute ago, okay? This is a jar of mango chutney. And the reason I've bought a jar of mango chutney is because when I was growing up in my house, one of the absolute rock solid things that would happen on a weekly basis without change was my dad would always make curry on Saturdays. Okay, go to Tesco Saturday morning at 8:30. He'd come back, he'd get the curry on. That would be simmering away quietly all day, and then Saturday evening was curry night. And mango chutney was always served with the curry. And as a child, I didn't really know what mango chutney was. I didn't particularly like mango chutney, but it was something that I've always associated with those kind of Saturday evenings in house. So that mango chutney is something to me that roots me and takes me back to my childhood, to food, to family, and to routine and structure. If I could have brought it, I would have got the original wooden spoon that my dad used to use to stir the curry, because that was the same spoon he used for about 20 years, but I don't have access to that. And it wouldn't have been right to have just bought a different wooden spoon, that wouldn't have worked. But mango chutney it has a special place in my heart.
Tell us about your item.
So I don't have my item with me, but my item is a bracelet that I got from my mum. And the bracelet says, trust in yourself and God. And obviously that's something that's important to me because I kind of feel like it keeps me safe. So, yeah.
Yes, do you want me to show you?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's a picture of me when I was about 9 years old. I used to have to do this quite a lot, and it used to scare the living wotsits out of me every time I did it.
And can you explain what it is that you're doing?
So it's a picture of me playing the clarinet, and I used to have to play that clarinet in front of my whole school, in front of lots of different people in lots of different events, and it caused me a lot of stress. So that's why it's here today, yeah.
Did it scare you a lot?
It scared me a lot, yes.
Do you feel like it shaped how you are today?
So when there's times where I'm nervous, I've got to build myself up to do something like a presentation, or I'm doing something like this, there's a moment where I always have to reflect on what are the things that I've done that I know I can do, and I can put myself in a happy place to do it. It's a chance you're really vulnerable, but you know that you have to remember everyone's kind of rooting for you to do really well, so that's good.
This represented a big change in my life. It's what made me go from what I consider to be my childhood to what I consider to be now. It's what made me travel to the UK to a degree. Situation back home gave me sort of the opportunity to change a lot as a person as I traveled to a place where nobody knew me. So I had to, I'm not going to say an excuse, but an opportunity to grow and change. So this is my item.
I don't have an item per se, so I would say I am the item. My childhood framed me for my future self, maybe. So I tend to bring in my experiences, my past memories to people I work with, people I engage with, people I interact with.
So can you describe your experiences and memories from your childhood and how they shaped who you are today?
I had a very good childhood. I totally enjoyed my childhood. Comparatively, it was good because my friends were complaining about why my mom wouldn't do that, but I had all my privileges. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, but I had my privileges there. And I believe what happens in your childhood shapes up your entire future, and unless you want to continue the chain or break the chain, it carries forward to your entire generation. So your childhood matters a lot.
In terms of my childhood, like I had a pretty good childhood, I had a good upbringing. My parents were very good with me and my sister. And when I was in school, I was quite like, I was a little bit insecure, a little bit like I didn't have a lot of confidence because I was quite overweight and I did get made fun of it quite a lot when I was young. And I was bullied quite a lot, but I feel like it's kind of made me a stronger person, and it's kind of made me realize that, well, the position I'm in now, to be more happy and more grateful for what I have now and my confidence and the people that I'm surrounded by now. So.
My parents are actually exiled. So they came into this country in the 70s when there was a movement from the sort of the African population. So they are British Indians, but they lived in Africa, and actually they moved out of Uganda and they came and settled in this country. And when they came here, they didn't have anything. So they were essentially living in refugee quarters, Brize Norton, basically. And from that, having been very affluent back home and having nothing whilst arriving, they've had to find their feet, you know, amass their wealth and kind of support us to go through education. So I'm a first-time university student in terms of from my family, but ultimately it meant that from a very young age we watched our parents, you know, work very hard, and those values were instilled into me. So whenever I've seen a challenge or whenever I've had a barrier, the only thing that I've ever recognized is having some resilience and overcoming that challenge, because you need to push yourself, you need to motivate yourself. And that's what I've taken from my childhood, my parents, and also, like I said earlier, from my faith.
I don't have a specific memory. I have sets of memories. I don't know how to define it. There was this one memory I can think of right now. So during the whole of my school life, whenever there was a project or assessment or any group work or anything that I had to do to go out of my way, and my parents used to always support me in a way that we will give you all of the supplies you need, art and craft or whatever, but you will be the one working, and you will be the one cutting and pasting and everything, and we won't go out of our ways to help you, but we will support you. And I think that has shaped me into an independent person.
I think a lot of what shaped me when I was a child is my relationship with my dad. He taught me to be very confident in myself, and I think that's something that I really appreciate. To always try and improve, obviously, but to recognize that you being yourself is enough, and trying to, you know, while trying to become better, it's sort of, you gotta work with the tools that you have. Obviously, you can wish for better tools, but not using them simply because you wish you had better ones, not making you any favors. So I think that's something I really appreciate. It's also, yeah, maybe I appreciate the good from my dad, but obviously nobody's perfect.
Can you elaborate on why you might find it difficult to talk to someone about how you feel?
I think it's probably the way I was brought up. My father was a very reserved character. And they do say that, you know, one of the truisms of life is that as you get older, you end up like your parents, especially your father if you're male. And I think he was a very intensely private person, and I've probably picked up quite a lot of those characteristics. So I'm afraid I blame my father for that.
Okay. Would you say you find it particularly difficult to talk about how you're feeling?
Yeah, I do sometimes, because I feel like for me, if I focus on my feelings, then I feel like sometimes it can be a distraction. So I've always been a person where I don't usually talk about everything that's going on, because I like to be independent, and especially during uni and being on my own a lot of the time, I've kind of learned to kind of deal with a lot of things myself, which is not always the best thing. And I've kind of realized as I matured and grown up that, like, emotionally you kind of do need to be able to be vulnerable around people. And also one of my friends passed away last year, so yeah, it's speaking out about things is very important. So yeah.
Okay. Is that something you want to share with your friends?
Oh yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay.
So, my friend, I won't say his name, but my friend passed away last year, and that was due to mental health related stuff. And obviously, that was something that I still think about to this day, because I kind of do take it out on myself, and I'm still a bit like upset about the fact that I didn't really do more, and that we could have potentially done more to kind of reach out and just check that he was okay, because that really did give me a wake-up call in the sense that you can't just expect people to be okay and just without checking in on them, kind of thing. So
as a man, I would say it's a little bit more difficult to allow yourself, not to just talk, but to allow yourself to be in a space of vulnerability where you're able to talk about how you feel. I think it's our role, especially when you come from a big family like me and you have some sort of responsibility to make something of yourself, to kind of stay on top of everything and not let yourself be beat down by anything that might happen. I don't talk much about how I'm feeling, but I just don't think I need to, because I'm still quite stable. I have the perspective, I'm blessed with perspective, I'd say. I'm able to see when things that don't matter, that, you know, even if it might impact me on the moment, I'm able to get over it quite quickly. So I'd say, even though I don't talk much about myself, I'm still, I'd say, in a good space.
I wouldn't say I find trouble talking to people, only trouble talking to or sharing about my mental health. And it's just trust, I think. Because for social animals, it always depends on who you're surrounded with. And we all are from different cultures and backgrounds, different places. I think your experiences shape who you are and how do you talk, or how do you just communicate in general. I think it depends on who am I talking to and what am I sharing. But usually if I'm talking about mental health with the context here, I find it easy to talk to with my friends, but obviously when I'm talking to people I met a week ago or new friends, acquaintances, I do find trouble talking to them.
Being vulnerable, it's going to be an obvious response, because when your partner or your friend or anyone you're close with finds out that you're vulnerable, they might use that against you. So that's why most of us don't want to be vulnerable in front of anyone. We just close our face and cry, maybe.
Has that ever happened to you?
I never knew I would be emotional or vulnerable until I fell in love with a girl. So she unlocked my entire emotions. Wellness check, that's so new to me, but I haven't spoken to anyone like how I felt. I never had the chance, or I never had a person to speak with, maybe. We don't have a mental health back in India. We don't have health, we don't have mental, nope. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your physical health. It's just run, do your stuff, get your work done. No one cares about you. Earn, go sleep, eat your food. If you have food. No mental health.
And do you think that's healthy?
Nope. And ironically, people back in India, they don't have a healthy mental situation everywhere they go, but they seem to be happy. Either it's the way they've been brought up or they are faking it.
How do you think that some people's childhood experiences can shape their mental health today?
I think it can go in very different ways. I mean, I've seen whilst working here that sometimes you find that just having a conversation can really help someone. It can uplift them, but you can equally put them down. Through my discussions with some of the recruits that I work with in the military, you find that actually a lot of people have had very unsettled childhoods, and actually it's given them poor direction and potentially poor steer. Flip that around, I've personally had a sense of happiness growing up. So I've prided myself on being happy, and with my own family, the mantra I use is to be happy. And if you're happy within yourself, you'll flourish. So I think some of the challenges you have through childhood can shape who you are, but at the same time, it's about overcoming them and finding the barriers. And it's small steps and little changes that can definitely help shape who you are later on in life.
In what ways do you feel the university provides a safe space or not for staff members to discuss mental health struggles, especially for men?
Good question.
When you say specifically for men, I cannot think of anything right now, but the Reading Students' Union do provide an advice service, and they are not biased for men or women. Anyone can come and talk to them, and there are drop-in sessions as well. So I think that's a very, very good advice service. Yeah.
So I did, so last year I was going through like a lot of stuff. Obviously it was the first year, so obviously it was really stressful going through all that. I've never really been away from home like in that style, and I went counselling. I went counselling just so I can just talk to someone about how I was really feeling. I think it really helped, honestly, counselling. Because I felt so much of a burden with my friends and family, talking about how I was feeling, because everyone's going through stuff and I don't really want to put my worries and stuff onto them as well. Like they're like, oh, meanwhile Nathan's going through that and he's going through that. So I knew I needed to talk to someone like professionally about how I was really feeling. I think it helped. The advice was good. I just wanted someone to talk to about how I was feeling, and I think that really helped with that.
I think it does. I think we can always do better, but I think it does. I try and encourage it within my teams, being open and transparent about that myself. Sometimes I feel I'm being too over, putting burden on them necessarily, but it's certainly a safe place to do it, probably more so than any other organisation I've ever worked for in that respect. So communication, talk, I mean bottling things up. At work it's sometimes not possible to do that very easily, to show your vulnerabilities, so make sure you've got your family, your friends, go for that beer if you need to go for a beer. And don't feel like you're going to burden your mates or the guys you don't actually know very well in the pub to say, do you know what, I'm having a bit of a tough time. Because actually men, despite all of that, will rally round very quickly to that individual when they're showing those vulnerabilities. So yeah, it's communication basically is the way I get through it.
I think friendship groups can be quite narrow for men. I think I see a lot of friendship groups of females my age that are much wider, and I think men find it hard if you've got those small friendship groups to really share intimate information about their health or their relationships or jobs. And I think that's the challenge for men, is that they do not have those wide friendship groups, and if you're finding it difficult to talk to one or two people who are your best friends, perhaps you've only got one or two anyway. So you can't find someone that you can share that with quite as easily, I think. So yes, I think friendship groups for men are, as they get older especially, are quite difficult.
The university does as much as it can. I think it does a decent job of offering support to students. I've become a star mentor this year, and I found out that every undergraduate student is automatically assigned an older student that can help them with anything. And one of the training that I took was trying to direct students in the right place. So there are systems in place. There are support systems from faculty, from the students, and also from, I think, professionals, I think. However, maybe the person that I am, I don't think I would use these support systems simply because of the reasons I explained previously. I'd say it's just, it's a bit much. But I think things like this interview right now, where we were able to talk about having a bunch of people talking about their feelings and or at least their perspective on things is very positive. It's a step in the right direction. I think something that could be improved could be having I don't know, maybe a role model or somebody that at least can represent the men in the side of mental health. Throughout history, women have been kind of underrepresented in these type of these settings, I'd say, like the setting that we're in right now. But there's a lot of support for them, and for men, we kind of don't even let ourselves go. We don't let ourselves be supported in these senses. So maybe having somebody that can demonstrate, look, if you really, really need to, there is somebody that you can talk to. If you're not somebody like me that has a good support system, then I suggest people to take advantage of it, and maybe, that's a step that the university could take.
My sense is that there are opportunities to do that, but it requires people to use their initiative to be able to take advantage of them. So the ability to take advantage of coaching, I did that through work, for example. So that was an opportunity that I was able to gain through my workplace to be able to get access to that. I know that we do have mentoring systems in place, so particularly when new staff arrive, they can get paired with a mentor. Now, some people might use that relationship as an opportunity to share some of those feelings, but it depends on your relationship with your mentor. You may or may not feel confident about doing that. So I think those opportunities are there, but they kind of require the staff members themselves to be a bit proactive about how they take advantage of them or how they use them. I suppose it's quite difficult to kind of formalise some of these things. If you set up a formal well-being process, then I don't know exactly what that would look like in terms of how you make it work. But it's an interesting. I certainly know that I have had conversations with other male colleagues at work about, how do you cope, when things start building up or you find yourself getting a bit run down. Your kind of reserves of resilience are starting to be eroded. You're finding yourself getting a bit more drawn into negative thoughts. I've had those kinds of conversations with people on a sort of an ad hoc basis. So I think the fact that we're a campus, the fact that we've got cafes, bars, opportunities for people to bump into each other sort of in a slightly informal environment does afford some of those chances, but to some extent it's things that have to happen by chance rather than. And I suppose with more people working from home and fewer people bumping into each other in that way on campus, maybe it's a little bit more difficult to do that now, possibly. Don't know, but it's an interesting question.
In an ideal world, describe who a man should be.
You're seeing an ideal man these days. Yeah. The society has already conditioned a man to be so ideal. He can't be imperfect. He can't be aloof. He's already ideal.
It's really common for social media in general. It doesn't affect just men, but it's really common for people to post on social media sort of their best selves. You don't post something to social media that is ordinary, that is, quote, mediocre, something that is average. You post something on social media because it is an extreme. Either viewed as extremely good within, I guess, a standard or a stereotype, something that is extremely bad. So sort of, even particularly for young people, I guess, viewing that as perhaps the only two options or predominant options evenly of I am either this super masculine man who is really confident and can, quote, get girls or they can go to the gym and all this stuff. And the other side was like, you can be a nerd who's depressed, nobody cares about them, and that sort of viewing those two extremes and think to yourself, well, I'm not doing perfectly, I'm not all this stuff. So then I must be this other type of person. Sort of resign yourself to that other standard, whereas you are just a person. You do fall somewhere in the middle, and that is fine. Again, I think that it's really important for, I guess, an ideal man in my eyes to be able to accept themselves for what they are, and I think social media can portray a false dichotomy that isn't really there.
I think my advice would be, is it really that important? You know, I've got a son, and I see lots of parents put pressure on their children to be something, and I think I've learned, you know, as a parent, is my son happy and is he healthy? That's probably enough. So happy and healthy are the two things I'd look for, really.
It's a mix of everything and everything. There are we have a lot of neurodiversity, lots of neurodiversity. I have it in my own family, and it's not easy to make sure that you're catering for everybody and everybody. So it's a question of being patient as a leader, definitely. Not jumping to conclusions when people might have said something they shouldn't have said or upset someone they shouldn't have said, and you never really know what's going on with anybody individually, but it's always worth asking them how they are. I do all my sort of one-to-ones and meetings. I usually try and open that with a "how are you" conversation. That's always good to just get a feeling of how people are doing.
I feel like for guys, a lot of the time when you're going through something, the solution that you're kind of pushed towards is usually something negative, whether it be like going out and drinking or, I don't know, doing whatever, but it's not usually something like wholesome. It's usually something that is a temporary fix. Whereas I've realized like a lot of the time that temporary fixes aren't always the best fix. And at the end of the day, you're still gonna feel the same way you were feeling before that. So I feel like a lot of it is quite temporary in terms of solutions. So.
I think if I was looking back and giving advice to my younger self, the advice I would give is don't be afraid to speak up. You know, don't let things like race or, you know, the color of your skin or, you know, the fact that you're, you know, you feel you're at a disadvantage, become a disadvantage. Challenge yourself and push yourself. But at the same time, speak up, you know, have your voice heard. And I think the overarching theme is to be happy during the whole journey and just enjoy it.
Like the stereotype of what it means to be a man. So basically, I think I had, and not just me, but other men as well, have this really toxic stereotype that we have to be strong and we have to be like tough and put others over yourself and be like a hero. And like one thing I noticed is that, like, especially when it comes to crying, so I'm a deeply emotional person compared to a lot of people. So like if I find something emotional, then I will cry. Like I cry every single time watching Inside Out, like every single time. And I felt really bad about that because, like, you know, men are not supposed to cry. And I would say stuff like what kind of man would I be if I didn't cry? If you are crying, then you're not a man, you're just weak. But like, you're not. Like, it's like we have emotions for a reason. Like if you want to be sad, you should be sad without like having to hide it. And this is like, and that stereotype is something lost at uni. Being at uni, I had to kind of relearn that it's okay if you are going to cry, it's okay to cry. So there are times at uni where I feel really stressed out and all that, and I feel the urge to cry. So I just spend this time just to cry and just let it all out and just like and I kept telling myself and be so angry and why are you crying, like, and I say it's okay, and you know, we've had these emotions for a reason, and it shouldn't be wrong to cry. It shouldn't be wrong at all for men to cry. I mean, not for anyone to cry. You shouldn't tell someone to stop crying, and it shouldn't be a problem to do that. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Like it shouldn't be a problem to do that, because we're all, at the end of the day, we're all humans, and yeah, sorry.
Do you need a moment?
I think men has been hardwired, or it's just because of so many years of men trying to being men and bottling their emotions in and not trying to express it to your friend group or a larger group of people, and just expressing it to your girlfriend or maybe just even yourself, and also thinking what other people will think of us or other men will think of us if we decide to open up our emotions. Will we come off as weak, or will we come off as vulnerable, as you said?
Why do you think that is, that people may think that men are weak if they open up about their emotions?
Honestly, if I knew the answer, I would have fixed the problem by now.
People say being a man means doing stuff alone, and that's not the case. You know, you've got people in your life for a reason. Your friends, your family, your faith. Everyone is here for a reason. Stuff happens for a reason. I just want to let people know that it's okay and you're not alone. It's hard, especially when opening up. But I think it's important to do that, and we shouldn't separate ourselves from what a man is supposed to do or what a woman is supposed to do. I think we're all people at the end of the day. We're all human beings with the capacity to express our emotions, and that is what's most important.